So in example 2 in your notes, we need to find the missing variable. And we want to round your answer to the nearest 10. Okay, so we're still going to use SOHCAHTOA. I'm going to write it at the bottom. SOHCAHTOA. Okay, sine, cosine, and tangent. It tells you what the ratios are. Very helpful. Get in the habit of writing that down. So we look at A. We have to, start with your angle. We have 54, and we have to identify the parts that we have. Okay, well, we start at our angle. We have start at 54. Kind of draw your pencil. We have the side opposite. We have the side across from the right angle and the hypotenuse. That should just be an O. Well, if we have the O and the H, the opposite and hypotenuse, go down to SOHCAHTOA. Which one has an O and the H? And that would be sine. Okay, well, that's what we're going to use. We're going to say sine of 54 is equal to the opposite, which is W, or the hypotenuse, which is 17. At this point, what you're going to do is you're just going to cross multiply. So that's over 1. Cross multiply, so we get 17 sine of 54. Not 154, just 54. Equals 1 times x, which is just x. Okay, this is really important. In your calculator, you need to make sure you're in degrees. So if you have your TA84, you're going to go ahead and you're going to hit mode. It's right next to the blue second button. So the blue second button is the button right next to it, mode. You're going to arrow down to, there's the first line's normal, the second line says float, the next one says radian. You want to make sure, if you need to, arrow over so that it's flashing and highlighted on the degree and hit enter. You need to make sure your calculator is in degrees. Okay, radians is something different, but we're dealing with angle measures, so we need to talk about degrees. And then once you do that, hit second quit. Okay, you are going to plug this in your calculator exactly how it's written. You type 17, the sine button, it looks like sin, S-I-N, hit the sine button. On your TA84, it's right next to the x to the negative 1 power. It's close to the math power. It's under the apps button. And then once you hit sine, you're going to do 54, close that parenthesis, and hit enter. We just solved for x. We know x is equal to, it says round to the nearest 10th, so x is equal to 13 point, that 5 is going to bump that 7 up to 8. So that's the measure of that missing side. I guess it's W. If you change your variable like we did, it's not a big deal. So there's that missing side. It's 13.8. Okay, if we take a look at B, it's the same thing. Start at your angle and label the parts that we have. Well, here's our opposite. They didn't give us anything over the opposite. The side across from your right angle is your hypotenuse, which means the other side left over is always our adjacent. It's the side that's touching your angle, but it's not the hypotenuse. Okay, well then you have to look at your SOHCAHTOA and see, well, which one has an A and which one has an H, which one has an adjacent and a hypotenuse. And cosine does. So we're going to fill it in the exact same way. We're going to say cosine of your angle 33 is equal to your A, so 4.5 over your H, which is W. And just like the last problem, you're going to cross multiply. So we get W cosine of 33 is equal to 4.5. Okay. We need to get W by itself, so go ahead and divide by the cosine of 33. That way it cancels. So W equals, again, you're going to enter this just like it's written in your calculator. You're going to do 4.5 divided by, you just say cosine of 33. W equals, again, round to the nearest tenth, 5.4. There we go. That missing side is 5.4. We're going to go ahead and take a look at, if we look at example 3, we're going to use inverses to solve for angles. So in the last one, we were given the angle, we needed to find the sides. This time around, we were given the sides and we have to find the angle. And we're dealing with angle x each time. So go ahead, I'm going to circle angle x. It's the same exact step. Start with your angle, label the parts that we have. So we go, here's our opposite, across from the 90, that's our hypotenuse. That's all we were given. We weren't given an adjacent. So again, get in the habit, right? So don't write it over the words. I don't have much room, so that's why I'm writing them over the words. Katoa. Well, if you look, which one of these has an O and an H? It's sine. So we're going to say sine of x, because we don't know what that angle is equal to the O, which is 6, over the H, which is 10. You're going to solve it the same exact way. You're going to cross multiply. So we get 10 sine of x is equal to 1 times 6 is 6. Here's the thing, we want to get the sine of x by itself. So you're just going to divide by 10. And that's it. That way the 10's cancel, and we have the sine of x equals 6 over 10. You can leave it as 6 over 10. You can simplify it. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to leave it as 6 over 10. Less work for us. When this happens, you want to get that sine of x by itself, and then all you have to do is type this in your calculator. You are going to hit the second button in your calculator and hit sine. When you do that, you are going to get something that looks like this on your screen. Sine to the -1 up. Something like that's going to pop on your screen. Okay, that's just the inverse of sine. You use that when you're missing the angle. And then you just do 6 divided by 10 in your calculator. So 6 divided by 10, hit enter. It should give you 36 point, and it wants it to the nearest tenth, 9. So there's our missing angle, x angle. It's 36.9 degrees. If we take a look at B, B's the same steps. Start with your angle. Here's x. Label your parts. Well, if we go across, they didn't really give anything with O. They gave us our H, which means the last one standing is our A. So again, you have to look and see which one of these has an A and an H. Cosine. So cosine of our angle, we don't know what it is, over A, which is 15, 20. Same exact steps. Go ahead, cross multiply. We get 20 cosine of x is equal to 15. I'm going to go ahead and erase tangent here. Divided by 20, divided by 20. Cosine of x is equal to 15 over 20. Again, you can simplify that fraction You don't have to. You're going to get the same answer no matter what. So in your calculator, you're going to hit second, and this time you're going to hit cosine, and you're going to get something that looks like this. You're going to get cosine to the -1 up, and you just type in that fraction, 15 divided by 20. So when you do 15 divided by 20, you should get, as your missing angle, it's 41.4 degrees when you round to the nearest tenth. And there's your answer. And there are your notes.